A few years back, I remember listening to Pastor Jerry Flowers' sermons quite a bit, and a lot of his sermons really helped me through tough seasons that I was trying to navigate through with learning to hear God's voice, knowing what was His will, what wasn't His will, and just a lot of decision making, hard decisions I had to make at the time. And so I would continually listen to Pastor Jerry Flowers' teachings, and one teaching that he did in particular, I believe, was on knowing God's will versus his permissive will. And he spoke heavily on the book of Jonah. If you don't know the prophet Jonah, the Lord had instructed him to give a word of warning to the people of Nineveh of these feelings that Jonah had towards the people of Nineveh. He didn't want to give the warning because he didn't think they deserved getting that warning from God, and he didn't want to give the prophetic word to them. He didn't. So he ran. He tried running from God's presence, and he got on a boat, basically sailing in the opposite direction, and he ends up on these people's ship. So this falls into God's permissive will, what God allows when you don't fall into his perfect will. And God's permissive will, anything that you try to entertain outside of God's perfect will, you have to maintain on your own, and God will give you over to whatever it is that you're running to, rather than running to him or staying in God's perfect will for your life. And so but I say all this to say that you always need to pray for God's perfect will in any situation that you're going to him about, because anything else would fall into God's permissive will. Things that God may allow, that God may not have wanted to see you go down that path, but he will allow you to, because you have the gift of free will. But free will, as I like to say, is not always free. It comes with a cost, especially if you're making the wrong decision. But hey, we live and we learn. But it's better to do things the right way the first time around, so that you don't have to then suffer the storm or the outcome of a particular decision that could have been avoided.